Hello. Hello, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the 2024 PC Business Dean Symposium. And as we start this afternoon's exciting event, I'd like to have Father Sicard, our college president, come up and give a few remarks.
Thank you, Chris. And I can't tell you how excited I am to be here today for this event. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. And it's such an honor to welcome back Rich Gotham, who's one of our most distinguished alumni. He's been hugely successful, and he's been a great alum, a great witness to Providence College. And he just stepped off after 9 years on our board of trustees. And he was an amazing trustee, and during most of that time, he chaired the varsity athletics committee. And anytime we can get Rich and Kim English and Erin Batth up on a stage at the same time, you know how very special that's going to be. So again, I couldn't be more happy to be here. And Chris, I know how much work goes into something like this. So thank you very much, and God bless you, and go Friars.
Thank you, Father Sicard. So as interim dean of the School of Business, I'm delighted to welcome everyone. I've just assumed the role of the interim dean as of September 1st, and so this is the first large gathering that we're having since I took over that role, and I'm very excited about it. I would also like to extend my deepest gratitude to our interim provost, Dr. Sylvia Maxfield. As many of you know, Dr. Maxfield was just recently the dean of the School of Business, and it's because of her efforts that we even have a Dean Symposium to begin with. So I would like to thank Dr. Maxfield for her incredible leadership of the School of Business. As Father Sicard mentioned, at the business school, we have an interconnected community of students, faculty, staff, and very supportive alumni. And one of our most remarkable alumni is Rich Gotham, class of 1986, who is the president of the world champion Boston Celtics. And Rich has just returned from Abu Dhabi, where the Celtics were again victorious. And he's preparing this year for an exciting title defense. So thank you once again, Rich. I also want to extend my gratitude to Steve Napolillo, our athletics director, and the basketball coaches, Erin Batth and Kim English, for participating in today's discussion. As you may know, next fall we will welcome our first class of the Masters of Science in Sports Administration program, and today's symposium serves as an exciting launch to that program. I'm thrilled to guide this program to fruition, and I encourage everyone to learn more about that program. And finally, I want to thank everybody present today. We have a full house here in the Ryan Atrium. We also have many folks joining us on a live stream. You all play a crucial role in supporting these events and the fabric of the PC business community. I would now like to welcome Jenna Cobb, class of 2024 and current MBA student, to introduce today's speakers. And Jenna, I'm going to get you all queued up here.
Hello, everyone. It is a privilege to be with you all today as we come together to hear from a distinguished group of leaders that we know and love here in Friartown. My name is Jenna Cobb, and I'm a proud graduate of the Providence College class of 2024. Currently, I'm pursuing my MBA and serving as the Marketing and Promotions Graduate Assistant for PC Athletics. Thanks to my studies in marketing and management, I've had the incredible opportunity to put my education into action with legendary organizations like PC men's and women's basketball, the Boston Red Sox, and the 2024 NBA champions, the Boston Celtics. Today, I have the honor of introducing you to 4 remarkable leaders who have made tremendous impacts in the sports industry and inspire fellow Friars like me. First, I'm excited to introduce to you all Providence College alumnus and a true leader in collegiate athletics, Steve Napolillo, Providence College class of 1998. He was appointed to be Providence College's Vice President and Director of Athletics in 2022. With nearly 2 decades of experience at PC, Steve has elevated the athletic department, achieving record fundraising and ticketing sales, as well as enhancing the student-athlete experience through innovative programs like name, image, and likeness initiatives. Continuing to raise the bar for Friar athletics, Steve has recently announced this past August that the college would be adding men's and women's golf teams, which means the department will now sponsor 21 varsity teams. As he continues to lead the Friars into a new era, it's my pleasure to welcome Steve Napolillo. Next, I'm thrilled to introduce to you all Erin Batth, who made history as the head women's basketball coach at Providence College on March 20th, 2023, when she became the first Black female head coach in the program's history and one of only 11 in the Big East Conference. With 17 years of NCAA Division I coaching experience, Coach Batth has an impressive track record, including a successful stint at Michigan, where she helped the Wolverines reach the NCAA tournament, and at NC State, where she contributed to 3 consecutive ACC tournament titles. A standout player at Clemson, she was the first player from the university to be drafted into the WNBA, recruited to the Cleveland Rockers in 2001. She also played professionally in Greece, Turkey, and had runs with the San Antonio Stars and Sacramento Monarchs of the WNBA. With her impressive background and commitment to developing young athletes, Coach Batth is poised to make a significant impact at Providence College and beyond. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Coach Erin Batth. Next, I'm excited to introduce Kim English, who is named the 16th head coach of Providence College men's basketball on March 23rd, 2023. A proven leader with a rich background in both playing and coaching, Coach English previously held collegiate coaching positions at Tulsa, Colorado, and Tennessee, culminating in 2 successful seasons as head coach at George Mason. In his first season at Providence, he led the Friars to a 21-14 record, achieving 6 Quad 1 victories and making significant impact on player development. As a standout at the University of Missouri, Coach English scored over 1,500 points and earned all Big 12 honors before being drafted by the Detroit Pistons in 2012. He played 41 games in the NBA during the 2012-2013 season and also had a successful international career, competing overseas with a brief stint with the Chicago Bulls. He embodies the passion and integrity that Providence College stands for. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Coach English. And last, but certainly not least, I have the pleasure of introducing distinguished guest, Mr. Rich Gotham. About a year ago today, I had the honor of interviewing him for my sports management class. At that time, he shared invaluable insights as the esteemed president of the Boston Celtics. Fast forward to today, I have the incredible opportunity to intern alongside him and his team during the Boston Celtics 2024 championship run, making today even more meaningful. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Rich Gotham, who is in his 22nd season with the world champion Boston Celtics and his 18th as team president. In this pivotal role, he oversees all aspects of the Celtics business operations, collaborating closely with ownership, basketball operations, and the NBA on various initiatives. He succeeded the iconic Arnold Red Auerbach as team president. Since joining the Celtics in 2003, Rich has propelled the organization to new heights, achieving over 500% revenue growth and setting records in attendance, ticket sales, and merchandise. His leadership has been instrumental in the team's success, contributing to the NBA championships in 2008 and 2024. Notably, he negotiated the construction and naming rights for the Red Auerbach Training Center, the team's long-term lease with TD Garden, and a groundbreaking media rights partnership with Comcast Sportsnet. Rich's achievements have garnered major recognition in publications like the Wall Street Journal and New York Times, highlighting the Celtics as thought leaders in the sports industry. Beyond business, he is deeply committed to community engagement, leading initiatives that impact over 20,000 children annually. Before joining the Celtics, Rich Gotham had a successful 15-year career in the tech industry, including a significant role at Lycos. He also serves on the boards of several organizations, including the Greater Boston Chamber of Commerce, the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and recently served as a proud trustee at his alma mater, Providence College. Now, in true Friartown fashion, please join me in welcoming Rich Gotham.
Thank you, Jenna, and thank you for all of you for being here. It's nice to see a full room. Time to lower your expectations. So that was a great, albeit overly generous introduction. It's almost as if I wrote it myself, but it's our PR people write that stuff. Anyway, it's although they need to change it. You know, it's not the it's the 18-time world champion Boston Celtics, right? And, yeah, thank you. Maybe Celtics fans in the room? Anyway, yeah, all right. Knicks fans? All right, security, these people, please, get them out of here. It's great to come back here. I have a good job. I'm happy with it. I've been doing it for a while. But I don't think there's anything better in the world than a beautiful day on a college campus. So coming back here today is just a real treat for me. It always is. I've tried to stay really engaged with the school, and it's because the school has really given me so much of my opportunity in life, any success I've had, I can really trace back to my time here at Providence College on this campus. And I'll always be grateful for that. Providence is a place that gave me help when I needed it at a time in my life that was pretty difficult, helped me get through 4 years of college. I was recently down in Newport for the 16th consecutive year with 40 of my best friends from the Providence College class of 1986 and 1987, something we do every year, something I don't think alumni from a lot of other schools do. This wasn't a class reunion, by the way. This is just a bunch of people who've stayed together and who love each other, and the bond has just grown stronger over the years. So it's so great to be a part of this whole Providence thing. I kind of look out at some of the students here and I say to myself, you know, I switch places with you in a heartbeat. It's so enjoy it while you're here. It's a special time in life, and Providence is just it's different than any place else you could be. When I was sitting in your shoes, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I had no clue. People always say, oh, you got this dream job? I'd say, well, I didn't necessarily dream about it. I never thought it'd be available to me. And mostly what I dreamt about when I was in college, sorry, father, was girls, right? So I didn't sort of engineer my path here to where I am in my career today, but I'm lucky that I got the start that I did. All I knew coming out of college was that I needed to get a job and I needed to make some money. I needed to help my family. And I needed to support myself in my, you know, starting my kind of journey, I guess, as they say these days. And there was no, you know, when I was here, there was no Ryan Center for Business. It was old Koffler Hall, as I think anyone remembers. It wasn't too long ago. This is quite an improvement, quite an upgrade. And there was no focus on the sports business or the sports industry at all. In fact, when I was here in '86, there was no sports industry. Now, today, I talk to probably 50 Providence students a year about potential careers in sports. Jenna is a great example, referred to me from one of your professors, Professor Riley, here in the business school. And I think it's great that it's an alternative for, you know, business students and even in non-business students to pursue a career in something they might be passionate about, you know. And a lot of people are very passionate about sports, so just being a big sports fan isn't really kind of a job qualification, as you'll find if you do pursue a career in sports. It's easy to fall in love with sports. It's easy to have passion for sports. But when you think about your career, when you're out of school, it's really falling in love with the job or the career you're going to have. And we're not all Kim English or Erin. We're not all going to have professional sports careers. Most of us will not. But we will have the opportunity to stay close to something that we really love. And I think it's a good opportunity, and it's one that's worth pursuing. It takes a lot of patience, a lot of networking. You've got to figure out, what do I want to do? Do I want to be on the sports side of sports, on the business side of sports? Do I want to be in front of the camera, behind the camera? Do I want to work in sales and marketing, or do I want to work in finance or legal, or do I want to work in social media and digital content, or do I want to work in community relations or communications, right? There's so many different careers you can pursue within sports, and that's something to think about if any of you are interested in sports. It's not just I'd love to get into sports. It's like, what would I like to do in sports? Like, what skills do I have, or what skills do I need to build while I'm here or when I leave in order to be able to have that path be open to me? So I'd encourage you all to think a little bit about that. I would say, it does take some patience. I have a son who just graduated from Bates, 4-year varsity basketball player. He's got connections in sports, I guess. But still, it's October and he's still looking for a job because it's not easy to break into. There aren't a lot of entry-level jobs. It takes some sacrifice. I'm sure Stevie could tell you his story about, the wait to get into the kind of role that he has now. But then when you get there, it's great and it's a lot of fun along the way. So I'm glad that Providence is kind of increasing its commitment with the Masters in Sports Administration program. I think that's going to be great for anyone who's interested in pursuing that. And I'm looking forward to contributing to that to the extent that I can. But mostly I'm looking forward to sitting down and chopping it up with the coaches because I think I personally would rather, if I'm sitting in your seat, I'd rather hear from them than me. And maybe we'll talk a little hoops and yeah, I guess that's it for me for now. Thank you for being here. Thanks for taking the time to listen to me, and thanks for supporting the Celtics. Appreciate it. And go Friars, of course. This guy would be very upset if I didn't end with that.
I'm a little nervous. Father Sakar's not as excited to have me on stage with you guys, so I don't know how to handle this one. But Rich, we're fired up to have you. Welcome back to Friartown. On behalf of everyone here, I know on behalf of Father, as Jenna really stated, the athletic director and our coaches, to be able to say the president of the Boston Celtics is a Friar and a world champion is something everybody here is fired up about. So huge round of applause for you, my man. I'm going to stay on this. This business school is amazing. And I think our students, our student athletes, everyone who gets to experience this institution, this major, this building, our professors, we're all trying to become leaders, the best leaders we can be. And Rich, for this group, what did you learn mostly during the chase to win a championship over the past several years? As leaders, yourself, president, owners, coaches, what did you learn the most that really took this team to the top?
I think what I learned the most is that in the long run, character wins. And we've been really close. We've been, my 22 years with the Celtics, we've been in the playoffs 19 of those years. We've been to 9 conference finals. We've been to 4 NBA finals. We've won 2 titles, but I think we've got a consecutive streak of 8 consecutive years in the playoffs, the most playoff wins, but we hadn't won a title in that time. And we drafted a couple guys when they were young. They were 19-year-old men, and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. We've watched them develop into fully formed adults and just great examples of what a professional athlete can be, what a superstar professional athlete can be and represent. We got close, but we didn't have quite all the ingredients. We had to be patient. Brad Stevens, who you may have known as the Celtics coach, became president of basketball operations. Brad was always a guy who put a real strong emphasis on character and on people playing their roles, right? Don't worry about being a star, worry about being a star in your role. You've probably heard that if you've been coached. But it's something that we lived out, but it takes the right collection of players and the right character amongst those players to accept that. We had probably 6 players who were all-star caliber players, but we had 2 players who were kind of like all-league players. And that kind of means everyone else has to sacrifice, but even when you're those 2 players and you've got others around you who are that good, you need to sacrifice for them. So we had 2 players, Drew Holiday and Derek White, who were both U.S. Olympic basketball team players. There's only 12 U.S. players on that team. And they were role players for us, and they had to accept that. And I think, what I learned is you have to really invest in people. You got to get the right people. It's a talent business. There's no question about that. You need talent, but you need talent with character. And I think that was the real learning for this past, at least these past 6 to 8 years of Celtics basketball.
Coach Batth, let's stay on top of that. And I'm really excited. Coach Batth's women's basketball student athletes are here. Let's give them a huge round of applause. Love these young women. You come to Friartown, have your first season here, and you are trying to develop leaders who believe in themselves, that they're winners. Give the people here a little insight how you're doing that and how you're building the program.
Right, so first of all, I'm so excited to see everybody. Thanks for having me. Really, the power of words is something I'm really big on, and what you say to people is huge. So I'm always talking to my women about who they are and why they're meant to be winners, and this is what it's going to take. And so really, it is a day-to-day reminder of their worth. It has nothing to do with basketball. It's who they are as people, why they're here, and the timing of everything. And so everything that I'm telling them, and we obviously do skill work and things like that, but you cannot, and Coach England can talk about this too, he talks about mindset, you cannot do it if you don't believe. And so I am trying to always breathe life into them. So sounds very cliche, sounds very simple, but I am telling you, over and over again, you remind somebody who they are and that they're worth something. They'll do something for you. You'll be very surprised. It's very simple of what I've been doing. When on my interview talking with you, I remember asking Steve Knapp, I said, what do you need me to do? Well, these women need some light. They need somebody to breathe life into them. I said, well, I'm ready, honey. Let's do it. So really, I'm getting on them. I'm a dragon. They'll tell you, boy, I breathe some fire. But I love on them first. I remind them of their worth. And I remind them we're going to go and go again. And we're going to help each other. All right? I always remind them of you cannot go. When we go together. All right? When you rise, bring somebody with you. All those things. Okay? So to answer your question, again, it's just about my words. I will never forget how people make me feel. Ever. I have people who've done a lot of nice things for me. I have. But it's the ones that make me feel like I can run through a wall. Those are the ones I will never forget. So that's what I've been doing every day.
Love it. Coach Kim, you and I talk all the time about you're defined by your actions. You're recruiting young men who you want to be leaders and defined by their actions. Can you let all these people know when you're looking at someone joining your program, what you're looking for in that individual?
First, obviously, thanks to our women's team here. I don't see our guys, so I can only assume they're in the library right now. But our men's basketball managers are here, and I want to give those guys a round of applause. Rich said it. The talent wins, but not talent alone. We look for an incredible work ethic. We look for an incredible toughness, and we look for great integrity. And the integrity of the young men we recruit, without a doubt, is the most important quality of them all. In our staff text last night, I was at dinner with a friend, Baccaro, great pizza in town, and my staff sent me a snapshot of a kid last night who scored 42 points in a game, and it was a big number. And I said, we don't want him. And they was like, why? Like, why don't we want 42 points? And and my answer is he's not our kind of guy. He's not our kind of guy. I ask recruits questions all the time. They may think it's the smallest question, but in the answers, I find out deeply who they are. I asked this kid, I said, it's another player, really good player, and I said, what are you going to do if he comes down the lane and try to dunk on you? He said, he's not dunking on me, coach, I'm getting out of the way. He's not our kind of guy. He's not the kind of guy we want here. He's not the kind of, so the toughness, the work ethic, the integrity is, it's a starter before we can even get to any of the minutia of all the other stuff.
Love that. Rich, as you have built this team, I think it's pretty public what it's cost you to keep this team together. And what's unique about as Coach Batth, Coach Kim, and I sit down, the whole world of college athletics is completely different over the last 2 years. And I always dreamt about being the GM for the New York Yankees. I never thought I'd become a GM at Providence College. And we, as the college landscape continues to evolve, what would you say is, as you're trying to invest as a president, GM of business leaders here, when you make that decision of the individual from a business standpoint, what's your final decision in that room?
Well, I think you got to decide what you're going to be about, right? The rules change, and they're going to continue to change. I remember the first time I talked to Kim, he wasn't too concerned about NIL. He was concerned about recruiting the kind of players he wanted, and the NIL piece would work itself out. And I think that's really critical to have that kind of foundation and those values that kind of transcend, because that's what's going to make Providence College basketball great. That's what's going to make people want to come play here. It's not how much money you give them. That's not a winnable game, and it's also not a strategy, by the way. In professional sports, it's a little different. But, you know, Erin and Kim and you and probably Kevin, everyone's a general manager in addition to being a coach now in sports. And I think it's unfortunate that I think there's probably a big part of your brain that has to go towards that aspect versus just the competition aspect versus just the coaching aspect. But I think, you know, and Kim said this and Erin said this, if you recruit the right people, you know, you're okay. You're going to be okay. If you instill the right values in those people and you can create a mission and a purpose for those people, they're going to want to stay. You know, in the NBA, we signed this offseason, we signed Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jason Tatum, Sam Hauser, all 2 contract extensions. The only one who got the maximum contract extension was Jason Tatum. The rest of them could have gone out and got more money, but they wanted to be part of the Celtics because being part of the Celtics meant something to them. It had a value that sort of transcended, and being part of that culture kind of transcended just, you know, they want to be part of that. And, you know, that is kind of an intangible, but it's what you're looking for. And it's probably the only thing that kind of saves you from having to, you know, outspend people and be in a model that's just not sustainable. So I don't envy what's happening in college sports. I'm fine with athletes being paid. I have no problem at all with that. I just don't envy the way it's happening and the complexity it's creating. And I don't necessarily think in the end it's really going to turn out to be fair for all the athletes. But it's hard, it's complicated, but you start with it, as always. It starts with people. You got to get the right leaders, and I certainly think Providence has those leaders with Erin and Kim.
Coach Batth, Coach Kim, give your perspective of how have you been able to adapt as coaches in this new business model?
Well, it's been kind of frustrating. I'm just being honest. That's why I'm here. It can be really frustrating. I'm learning every day. I have had a lot of conversations. You've got to educate yourself. I've been just trying to learn. I mean, I go out recruiting and I hear conversations of, and let me just tell you, I started coaching in 2004, y'all. Okay, so back then, y'all weren't even alive, most of y'all. But I just want to say, like, it's just changed. I have pride myself on relationships. When I'm a head coach, I have 16 women that are mine. They're like my children. So it is a blessing for me to be in their lives during their college years. So that's what I pride myself on. So I've had to change, and I think good leaders need to be able to have their legs ready to go, right, to be able to adapt and change. And so I have just been having conversations with you, Steve, asking Kim questions, too, on what he's doing, and trying to wait to talk about the money till the end, if that makes sense. Like, again, like Rich is talking about, getting to know somebody, the character. Recruiting for me is not a sprint, is a marathon. Kim maybe would agree with that. You take time in doing that. But then you have something called the portal, where I recruit a kid in 2 weeks. I got to make moves. We got 30 days. That window's open and shut. And so now the recruiting has changed. And I am looking to take over and make a program great again. So the way I'm recruiting is different from someone else who's been winning championships over and over and over again. Does that make sense? So it's been very interesting. I have my adaptability has been trying to stay positive for sure, okay, and sticking to who I am. As a great leaders, I believe we all up here are who we are. One thing I love about Steve, I know he has purpose for passion. I understand who he is. I know who my leader is. I know who my teammate is. And so to be a great leader, I do believe that's something that I have to stick to my guns when it comes to NIL. And if they talk about it quick, they're not supposed to be here, because you cannot come here just for the money. This place is too special. There's too much good stuff going on here. All right? So that's one thing that I've been kind of working on.
Coach Kim?
Yeah, if money's the defining reason of a decision, it's not going to be us. It's not because we don't have it. It's probably because you're not here for the right reasons. We got to witness the 2024 Big East Player of the Year make far less than a lot of other great players around the country. And he was the number 13th pick in the draft and is making a lot of money now. And the fast money is not always good money. The fast money, especially for a young person, no offense, you guys know what the word sophomore means? Raise your hands if you're a sophomore. All right, put your hands down because I don't want to embarrass you. The word sophomore is Latin for wise fool. No offense, but young people having a lot of money could distract you from what really matters during this era of your college basketball career. Your education, your hunger, your desire, your mindset to be a great teammate, to get to the next level where the money is great and generational and can transform your life. So for us, it's about doing the work to find the right people and consistently educating them on making sure your mindset and your priorities are in check. Vanderbilt hasn't beaten the University of Alabama in 50 years in football. They just did. I bet you Alabama's salary cap, for lack of a better term, is much bigger than Vanderbilt's. I bet you Notre Dame football's is a lot bigger than Northern Illinois. So how can that happen? How can Northern Illinois go and win at Notre Dame? As a coach, I would say the mindset was a little off. Complacency set in a little bit. I remember being dead broke in college and waking up in the morning and going to the gym because I thought that basketball was going to be my only way of making it. I know it for a fact. If I would have had hundreds of thousands of dollars in my bank account in college, in my dorm room, when it's cold in the middle of winter in Columbia, Missouri, I might have stayed my butt in bed because I was comfortable. So how is this era of college athletes, while you are making good figures of income, how are you going to keep the hunger? That's the question. That's the focus of all of our dialogue now, because if you let it distract you, it's going to be short-lived. It's going to be short-lived. And once you're no longer a commodity, what do you do to your players that are no longer valuable commodities? Coach Gotham.
They tend to get traded.
You get rid of them. So I love the portal. I love the fact that anybody could. I love it. I love it. I love it. Because if you're not good enough, you leave. And we can go get someone else that wants to be at Providence College, that wants to help us compete for championships.
Really well said. As leaders, there's a lot of variables we don't control. But what I always tell my team is there's variables as individuals you do control. Your attitude, your passion, your energy, your accountability. And I want to give Jenna a huge shout out. She's one of our GAs in athletics. And every day she comes in, no matter where I am, she's got a smile on her face. She's fired up to be in Friartown. She writes thank you notes. That's a lost art. Jenna, kudos to you. You're a leader. I give you a lot of credit. To my guest here on stage is Rich. Who's someone that you've looked up and made you the best you can be as a mentor or someone that you always wanted to take after?
Before I answer that, I'll just say, Jenna I agree. She was with us at Celtics for a stint. Being a catalyst, being an energy giver, someone who brings something positive to the room, to the table, versus someone who's negative energy and detracting from it. You know, it's just such a better path to walk, to be that person who lifts other people up and brings that positive energy. And when we're hiring people at the Celtics, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a spark. Like, I'm looking for someone who's, you know, bringing it. Yeah, you got to have certain, you know, qualifications and skills and talent, intelligence, all those things. But a lot of people check those boxes. But it's really who's bringing that positive energy into the room and making the other people around them feel better. And that is where leadership starts. Your question again? Oh, mentor. So, yeah, you know, I've never, and I don't know, maybe this is ego, but I've never really said, oh, here's, like, other than my father-in-law has been the person I look at as, like, the mentor in my life, because he was such a kind, high EQ, just such a good, warm person that he just always made me feel better. And I always said, gee, I wish I was more like him, you know, because I didn't grow up in a household who had a dad like him. But I tend to sort of cherry pick. I look at different people because I don't really think any one person is the be all end all. But I look at the people, and they're all around you, by the way. Like, I have this group of 40 friends. I could tell you something about each one of those people that I love, that I learned from while I was at school with them here, that I took with me. I can tell you about people that I work with. I worked with Danny Ainge for 20 years. Danny was a professional baseball player, a professional basketball player. He's a scratch golfer. He was an All-American high school quarterback. And he was the most humble guy I knew. And he was a guy who was just knew how to make other people feel better. It wasn't about him, it was about everybody. He was also awesome at his job. He was smart, he was competitive, he was tough. He was all those things. But I looked at him and I said, wow, if you could be that talented, that accomplished, yet that humble. Let me just do, how many people here, raise your hand if you think you're humble. All right, you passed the test. Someone must have done that to you before. It's a dirty trick. You know, people raise their hand and you say, well, I guess you're not that humble. I would have raised my hand when I was sitting in the rows where you guys are, so good job. But, you know, he's someone I really grew to admire. Brad Stevens, I mentioned earlier, he's a person I work with. Brad's got amazing integrity. He's got amazing values. He really believes in character and integrity above all else, which, by the way, can be a tough place to be when you're in the talent business. You're in the NBA. Not everyone's a choir boy. Not everyone is going to meet those standards. You have to be able to adapt to different kinds of people, different personalities. All these people are the best in the world at what they do, but you can't lose track. You can't lose your North Star, and he's been a good North Star. And for me, I make a lot of decisions in my job. Like, I'm the person who every kind of tough decision kind of lands with me ultimately, and I've got to, like, resolve something that the other people in the organization couldn't resolve. I got to make a decision. And you need other people around you that you can look to and you can say, well, what do I think Brad would do, you know, in this situation? And so I've been lucky, you know, there's just a couple examples of people I've worked with, people in my personal life that have meant a lot to me and have, you know, helped me grow even if they don't know it.
Coach Bath.
Oof. Well, I always give a shout out to my mom. She's something else. But I will tell you this, Barbara Kennedy Dixon, she is no longer with us. She was one of the best players, if not the best player to come out of Clemson University. Barbara Kennedy Dixon she still holds a lot of records in the ACC for women's basketball, just so y'all know. But she's a woman who, when I was in college, she has really set the tone for me. Woman of faith. Was a woman of truth, always told me, Erin, EB, now you need to be quiet, shut your mouth. You know, she was that woman. She was like, what are you doing? And, you know, where are you at? And all that good stuff. Always pushed me to get out of my comfort zone, which is, one of them is public speaking. That was something I did not love doing at all. I always get nervous, and she would make me go introduce Danny Glover. I introduced LL Cool J. I had to introduce Cynthia Cooper, all these people. She's like, you go do it, you go do it. I'm like, what? So things like that, but she is steadfast. She's a woman who knows who she is. You could not budge Barbara Kennedy Dixon, okay? And so she's a woman who I definitely want to give her flowers. She passed away not too long ago, but she's it, y'all. She's the reason. She told me to lead with kindness. Don't forget who made you, who is your maker. God makes no mistakes. She said to me over and over again. She's the reason why I coach.
Love that. Coach Kim?
Yeah, similar to Rich, a lot of characteristics in different people throughout my years that I've taken, and intelligence coupled with humility is probably what takes different people to the top. But as I've grown in my faith, really grown in my faith the last 10 years or so, and I tell people this when they do it, if I can find people that remind me of Jesus, which is like, whoa. And there's a coach at the University of Virginia named Tony Bennett. He reminds me of Jesus. When I read about him, when I talk about him, an incredible amount of humility and grace, and honor and kindness. That's who it is. Someone asked me this question the other day, and it sounded cliche, but I said it's Jesus for me. The way he treated the poor, the way he treated the least of us, the courage. I'll say that again, the courage to stand up for what you believe is right. At a moment, some of my players, I've had players that I look up to. Jaden Pierre is becoming a player that I look up to, and he's 20 years old. He stood up to me yesterday in practice in a moment that it may be one of my favorite moments in coaching. We have our standards, and if we're doing a defensive drill, if you get a stop, you stay on defense. You have the chance to win. And I moved on to the next drill, and the guys were saying, who starts on defense, black team or white team? And I didn't care. I said, I don't care. And I just said, white team's on defense. And Jaden Pierre, like most players, he argued. He said, no, black's on defense. But I thought he was just arguing because players argue. And I said, I don't care, just whoever's on defense. And Jaden said, no, we're on defense. We just got the last stop. And that was righteous. And that was what's right. And that's what was needed to happen. And that has been the established standard. So I think of that all the time. How is history going to remember you? How's history going to remember you on what you believe in? Do you stand up for what's right? Do you help people that are less fortunate than you? Do you think because you were born on third base, you hit a triple? Jesus was born in a manger, and he's the best of all of us. He was born in a manger,
The power of people. When Coach Kim became our coach, I was really struggling with faith. My father was sick. He passed away. And Coach Kim every morning sends a spiritual message that really gets you to start your day in a good mindset. And why that's important is because as you are looking to become the next generation of leaders, don't worry about titles. Don't worry about what your role is. Worry about how you impact people, because I might be the athletic director, they might be the coaches, this might be the president of Celtics, but the biggest impact you're going to have, as all three of these said, is how you treat people. And that'll get you the position you want. I think everyone in this building today, though, wants to hear from all three of you of how do you guys feel of going into this season. So, Coach Kim, I'm going to start with you. Expectations for this year, goals, and how do you feel so far in October?
Yeah, it's always a boring answer when I am asked this question about expectations or goals, because it's the outcome, big picture is out of our hands, right? When that ball leaves someone's hand, if it goes in or not is not up to us. But if that's a high quality shot, chances of it going in are higher. If it's a low percentage shot by not the best player, it's a lower percentage chance of going in. So for us, and we have a long way to go. Nat walked in my office today, and I had a paper the size of this stage filled to the brim on all the things we need to do better defensively. But it's honing into the process and doing exactly what we need to do, one possession at a time, defensively, offensively, defensively again, offensively. And if we can do that, we love the outcome most nights. When we're fully healthy, we'll have a very, very, very deep team, the deepest team I've ever been a part of. Some really good players won't play a lot. And it's a great challenge to your mindset, where you are. Do you sulk? Do you continue to get better and improve? Because it's going to be a long season. We're going to need every player on our team. I know you guys are going to be there, loud and proud, and we play for all of you. And the name Providence on the front of our jersey means a lot to us. And we got a good group, good mix, young and old, and really excited for you guys to see us hook it up in 26 days. Not that I'm counting.
Love it. Coach Batth.
Woo, well, if y'all know me by now, I want the opponents to be scared of us. I'm telling you, no. Well, I want to have a better season, but the biggest deal is I want these women that I have to feel what it feels like to be great, just to be great, to win. We're right there. We are right there. Obviously, you could talk about the NCAA tournament and top 5 in the Big East, all those things I have in the back of my mind, but we have gotten so much better. Y'all have got to believe me. Y'all hear me over there? We've gotten so much better. Up there, online, so much better. Our women are fierce. I am tough on them. I am. I ask for things. They're like, what? I said, do it again. Y'all got to know, okay? So we're going to do some things this year that I'm very excited about. Wins and losses, like coaches said, that shoot the ball, may or not go in. But I'm telling you, we're going to play hard. We're going to make you proud. That is every day. Come see your women play, all right? We're going to get some more wins. But ultimately, I have 10 seniors on my team. Some are coming back because they have another year to play, all that stuff. But they deserve to see y'all. They want to play for you. So I know it sounds like I'm pleading, but I'm telling you, we're going to win more games, all right? Because they have their mindset, their minds are right, all right? So we have our goals, but ultimately, I want them to feel success in everything that they do. I want them to leave Providence College and want to come back, like Rich comes back all the time. I want them to be good citizens. I want them to be able to be leaders, all those things after. I mean, this season is not just basketball. It is academics. It is when they graduate. It is a long thing, okay? It's not just practices. It's when they go to class. It's what they do in community service. It's all those things that I have in store for them, all right? So we're going to be good. I'm excited about that. All right? And when we go together. I would like to see some traditions, though. I talked to the Student Congress the other day with Kim and Steve, and I was trying to get us to start doing some things in our games, chants, or anything like that. I want to start something, y'all. And I'm using mindset because I think it's awesome. Y'all should have one side saying mind, the other side say set. Mindset. Let's go. I'm all for it. All right? Right? It sounds good to me. You better clap. Good stuff, so get ready. But I think we should start doing those things. So I don't know. I'm really excited. Come on and see us. We'll get it done.
You know, I love that. As athletic director and from a business standpoint, I hope every student in this building understands how much you impact the games. So I'm asking every student here to be a leader, to get your friends, your roommates to go to as many games as possible, because the women need you just as bad as the men do in all other sports. And from a business standpoint, what I can tell you, you impact the whole environment. More people want to come. More people want to buy tickets. More people want to watch. You guys are insane on social media. We're not bringing the tall boys back. Don't send me anything on that. But we're really good. These coaches and student athletes depend on you. So be leaders for us. Rich, you're coming off a national championship, a world championship. How do you follow this up?
Well, to first follow it up by changing the answer to the question about mentors to say, no, Kim and Erin are my mentors. No, this is what it's about. Like what they're saying is so spot on. Mindset is something we talk about all the time. So what's your mindset coming into a year after you've accomplished, you've risen to the highest level of what you do, right? I forget what year it was, the last team that repeated. I want to say maybe it was like the 12-13 Warriors. Am I going too far back on that? But yeah, a little after that. But it's been been a minute, as they say in the NBA, since the team has repeated. And there's a reason for that. It's a grind to get there. And your season doesn't end until mid-June. You go right into the draft. From the draft, you go into free agency. You go into summer league. We had 3 guys in the Olympic team. They had maybe, I'll give you Jason Tatum's schedule. Jason, we won, celebrated for a week or so. He had squeezed in having a baby in between, went and did a camp with Nike in Las Vegas, came home, packed his stuff, went back to Vegas for USA camp, left for 44 days away from home with Drew Holiday and Derek White. They come back mid to late August, and they got to get ramped up for a trip to Abu Dhabi. We start our season a week earlier than the rest of the league. So they got an excuse to say, well, that was a short off season. I'm kind of tired. This is going to be a grind. I actually feel good about it. Our coach, Rhode Island guy, Joe Mazzulla, right? Well, for the coach, Mazzulla, Rhode Island, Bishop Hendricken guy. He's a really, first of all, he's a psycho, but I say that in a good way. Like, he's a lovable psycho. He's intense about everything. He's intense about his faith. He's intense about being creative in how we try to take on challenges. So he has said, we're not repeating. That's not it. Everyone says, you win, you got a target on your back. It's no target on our back. Target's on our forehead. We're not defending anything. We're hunting for another championship. Last year does not matter. This year starts new. We're hunting. We're going for it. He's showing guys practice films of orcas, circling seals, and this is how we're going to play defense. And he's taken our season, and instead of looking at it as one long grind, he's chopped it up into segments. Between the start of season and Thanksgiving, here's what our ethos is going to be. Here's what our thematic's going to be. Here's what we're going to be all about. And it's, commit and compete, right? And then between Thanksgiving and Christmas, it's about gratitude. And you'd say, well, what does that do to get a team ready to play? It's about saying, you know what? This is a family time of year. Be grateful you're a player in the NBA. You're enjoying this time of year with your family. Yeah, it can be a distraction, or you can be grateful for it, right? Get through that. The part of the season between the holidays and the All-Star game is a grind. The days are short. It's dark. It's cold. It's Boston. It's Providence, right? It's like you got to get yourself going. How do you do that? How do you keep yourself going? Like, I forget what his theme was for that, but it's like, how do we stay energized through that period of time? Then you get to the part of the year, it's the All-Star break, and you got the trading deadline. You got all these things that are stressful for people, and it's kind of hard to get to. But anyway, he's broken the season up into these parts, and he's saying we're going to attack them all individually instead of looking at it as one long grind. And, I've been around a lot of coaches, a lot of really good coaches, and I've never seen anyone approach it that way. So I feel good about it because, I feel good about our guys because I do think they've got the character to, persevere through it and not let it. They have a thing, maybe you've heard this, I'm sure the coaches have heard it, when you win, the disease of more. It's a Pat Rileyism. And it's like, so I should have more because now I'm a champion. So I should have a bigger role. I should have more money. That's the enemy, right? We got to stay away from that. And I think we have the guys who will stay away from that. So I think we have the character in the players. I think we had a coach who's really being thoughtful about how we do it. And I think he's, got the right mindset to get us there. But like everything in life, you got to have luck. You got to be lucky. You got to be playing your best at the right time. You got to be healthy at the right time. So you can do everything right. And it's the tough thing about, tough thing about life, tough thing about what we all up here do for a living is you can do everything right and you could still, something could get in your way. So it's not going to be easy, but I feel good about it. So off we go.
So we should expect another championship.
I would Yeah. Well, I'll put it this way. The general managers survey just went out, the NBA general manager survey, and 73% of the general managers predicted the Celtics will win the title. I'm like, beautiful. These people should know better. Like, it's hard. So, you put yourself in a position to win, and then as the coach said, when the ball goes up, and it's out of your hands.
All right. Well, once again, thank you for an engaging discussion. That's great. So we have 5 minutes left for some Q&A, so we can take a few questions from the audience. We have some microphones over here and over here. So if anyone would like to step up to the mic to ask any of our panelists a question, feel free.
How we doing? It's not on?
It's on.
I was just wondering, what's like a one trade or like free agent signing that didn't happen that was like close to happening, but it fell through?
You're not supposed to talk about those when you have my job. It's funny, you get credited for the moves you make, but no one ever knows about the moves you might have made that would have been big mistakes. Because they don't happen, right? And they don't get out. We've had a couple where we've dodged some bullets, where we've been close to making a deal for the wrong player. The most important part of my job, and the people around me, the reason I think we've been consistently good is because we've consistently made good decisions, and we've had some luck, and we've avoided making bad decisions. You gotta, as they say, you gotta stop losing before you can win, right? And so, there's a couple that I sat in on. There was a time when we were looking at, well, now I'm not even gonna say, I'll say, we were, looking at Allen Iverson one time. We were looking at Carmelo Anthony. Instead, we ended up with Kevin Garnett because we patiently waited until the person that we thought was the right person was available. But we were thinking about those, and it might have happened, but, we didn't make those deals. And when you're making a deal, it takes two, right? Sometimes 3 or 4 teams to get a deal together. And so, you might want to do something and you can't. Someone else might want to do something and you're the one who says no. But ultimately, the decisions not to do something are often as important as the decisions to do something.
Yes, go ahead.
Hey, Rich, thanks for coming today. I just wanted to ask you, being from Providence College, we have a really rich athletic history. How did you carry that with you throughout your career all the way up to now where you're an NBA champion?
Yeah, I've been lucky in a number of ways. I was, growing up in the 80s in Boston when Larry Bird came to Boston, and he had the first big three in Boston. And that 86 team was like pure art, and I just grew this love for basketball, the ultimate team sport, but yet with all this room for like individual expression within it, and it grew my love of the sport. And then I got here, and it was, no offense to anyone today, but it was like the heyday of the Big East. You had Patrick Ewing and Chris Mullin, like guys who were like NBA Hall of Famers, who were in this league, and Providence was part of that. And then we made a Final Four run the year after I'd left, and I just became like so in love with basketball, and like, it was nothing like going into the AMP is today, like when I was here. Our team wasn't that great, but the students showed up, but not the same way. But I grew my love for the NBA. And, the other thing I'll say about Providence, there's a great tradition across so many different sports. We're so good at so many things. The basketball and hockey tend to be the higher profile ones, but our women's sports are incredible. Our athletes are incredible. Our athlete GPAs are incredible. It's really a tribute to Stevie and his group and Jill and everyone that supports those athletes. So a lot to be proud of. When I was here, there was nothing more important than winning an intramural T-shirt. So for the rest of us who weren't part of that, and it was such a part of the culture of the school, like sports was so much of it. And we knew so many people who were student athletes who weren't the star players on the big teams who were here because Providence supports so many sports, men's and women's. and you have this intramural sports culture that was like, for everyone who wasn't a varsity athlete, just that was the most important thing to you, was getting that T-shirt, you know? And so anyway, that grew my love and passion for sports, which, by the way, was already there when I got here, and it just kind of something that's, you know, carried with me through my life, and I've been lucky to be able to kind of marry my passion with my career. You know, not everyone's that lucky to be able to do that.
All right, that's all we have time for today. But please thank our guests. Another round of applause for our speakers. And I want to thank you all for coming here this afternoon and joining us for this wonderful panel. And go Friars!